Okay, back on with the build. We're on about day 3 now. The body is still flat and square, but has its various points on. All the cavities are routed. The neck is looking like a neck, and that fits on into the pocket like a glove. Very happy with that. Eventually it's all going to get curvy. That's what we're doing today. I missed the bit I'm looking forward to. So first thing to do is this LAN here has all got to come down to one level. This is going to be the base of this and be about yay thick. There's going to be calves on the back, so I'm going to have to be very careful to make sure I get it at the right height. I'm probably going to go down 1/3 there, 1/3 with the cavity cut, and leave 1/3 in the middle. Let's give it a go. Okay, so I've just had a little bit of a session there, taken that down to the 15 mils that I was talking about. I need to round this off so as it looks nice and really slope it in. I'll be doing that shortly. Now I'm going to concentrate on getting this curve in here. That's all hand stuff. Now we've got a much smoother, cleaner, shallower line. Get that all sanded off at the start to look great. Now I am absolutely knackered from doing that. That was a lot of carving, a lot of sanding, and then I'm about to go and turn the video off and realise I haven't turned it on in the blooming first place. So I'm absolutely gutted you didn't get to see me carving all that. Oh dear, never mind, that's life. So that is probably about 2 hours of carving and sanding, but generally it's looking there, it's getting there. I'm really looking forward to getting it all sanded off nice so there's no little marks on it, and yeah, a lot to do yet. Okay, and here we are inlaying the little mother of pearl blocks. So for this one, you can see I've probably done a couple there. We've got many more little ones to go. They're just little sort of 1.5mm blocks. For that I'm going to need a little Dremel, a couple of chisels, a little teeny plastic hammer, a couple of blades and knives, and a little tiny pair of tweezers. Forceps, darling, forceps. And of course, good ear protection. So with that, I'm just going to run you through how I've been doing them, just so you've got an idea. So I've done the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, now I'm on to the 9th, number 4. So I'm just going to eyeball to make sure it's in the middle, very carefully. And with my little handheld blade, I'm just going to score, bloody moved it now, going to score just up the edge, and the idea is to do this lightly, just to cut through the fibres more than anything, give me a little indication of where I'm going to cut to depth. So the idea with this is you have to go gently. If you go deeply, you're going to let the blade wander with the grain. If you go ever so gently, you're going to cut through the fibres. Give yourself a nice clear line. And you notice I'm not going right from edge to edge, because what I don't want to do is go. So once I've got these in position and I've got myself a little teeny weeny scored out square, not even sure, there you go, you can see it on the camera there. Then I'm just going to deepen those with a handled knife, and again start lightly. Don't go the full length because you don't want to overcut, but now it will follow that little tiny cut that you've made. And you can go a little tiny touch deeper on each one. And now do the other edges. And the idea with this is it's going to demarcate the edge. It usually cuts just ever so slightly inside because I angle the blade, and then I can cut to the exact size by marrying it back up again. But this allows me nice and easily to cut up to the edge with the Dremel with a little teeny weeny router bit, see where I'm going, and not make too much in the way of erroneous moments. So you can hear those fibres cutting through quite nicely. There we go. So now we've got a nice edge there. I'll get my earpieces on. We'll do a little video of me cutting through it. Alright, so now we've got a few little shavings there, and what you can see now is that I've cut within the confines of there, and I'm just going to trim off those edges with the chisel, and make it fit. So first things first, have a little tidy up because there's no bits everywhere. And at the end of every day, I try and clean up. Not very good at it, I'll be honest with you. So you get a little chisel, and now with those marks that I've made, I'm going to very gently just try and slice into there. Take out those little edges, like so. What you'll often find is that these tiny little gaps here, a little tiny bit will break off, and you have to save them and re-glue them back in. And the good thing is you never notice, they don't make a difference, but aesthetically you gotta do it. Because most of this will be getting right up against the edge of the frets. But it can be quite delicate. And if you have blunt chisels, it's even bloody worse. And the hardest bits are these little corners. Give them a little poke and they should lift out very easily. So you just have to go very slowly, very carefully. And these will ever so gradually just move out. And again, just a little dig and a little lift, and those corner bits should start to come out a little bit easier. We can't lift that one away. There she comes. It's being a bit stubborn. And if it's being a bit stubborn, then you just get your little knife in there and knock it out a little touch. And rescore it until you're happy. See, I've got a tiny little piece there. It's just come away, and this is when your forceps happen. You pop that out the way. As you know, it's going to just jump back into position with a little bit of glue. But what you don't do is lose it. One thing you can't be on this is heavy-handed. You've got to be able to feel the wood. but it's coming slowly, it's coming nicely. There's that stubborn corner gone. You'll notice I'm keeping my fingers well out of the way. After previous tendon injuries, one is a little cautious. Nearly done. Just get that corner nice and sorted. Final couple of passes, just to make sure that everything's nice and tight and level and the corners are all in. And then what we should have there we go, number 4 is a pretty well fitting little piece in there. So I'm just going to tidy that up, make sure that every edge is perfect, pop that little piece back in and glue them in. Okay, post a bit of fettling. It now drops in perfectly snug as a bugger rug. It's actually advantageous to have that little chip out because now I can lift it out. So now on with the soup glue. Just a little bit in there. I'm going to pop that in there. I'm going to pop a tiny corner on there. There we go. And I have my tiny little piece that came out, so we are talking minuscule little bit, but it's important. So it came out that way. And pop you into the hole in which it belonged. And to make sure it's snug, you get your blade, push it right up against so it's not in the fret slot. That's all in perfect position, and then give it a little bit of the super glue activator. And then we have a finished product of number 4, looking wunderbar. On to number 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. There we are, they're all in. I've just sanded them off so you don't get the numbers in there. Now all we've got to do is grain fill these little spots like that where there was a little teeny gap. Radius it, fret it, carve it, just a bit more finish. Okay, so now it is time to take what is a flat fretboard and make it into a radius fretboard. So this is a 12-inch radius sanding block. Voila! You stick some sandpaper on one side, you can see it's got a wee curve in it, and that's going to go down there and go scrubby, 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 scrub until that radius matches that radius. I've got the offcut from the back, and that sits so that it's not going to flex too much. That way you get a nice even radius. I'll just clamp it down at the end That way it's nice and solid, and off we go. Okay, so now I've got the radius done. You can see there that my 12 radius is on there very nicely. Does the business. The world is good. Now you'll also notice there's a big pile of dust up there. That dust is perfect for getting into those tiny little creases. So when you put in little bits like that, when you put super glue mixed with that dust, it darkens. So the fact that it's mixed up grey with the mother of pearl is beautiful. It comes up the same colour. So we'll do that next. All right. So fretboard all brushed off. Little bit of this lighter grey dust in there. And if I got some super glue and some activator if we need it, although you generally don't on this. You get a little corner of that, and you can probably see me just pop it in there. On that, squished in as best as possible. I'm going to leave the dust in there so it's easy to get out. And then just dabbity glue onto there. Mixed in some dust onto the top. There's that all set nicely. Try and catch your dribbles, if you will. And then we'll just leave that and we carry on with the next one. And we get all these little buggers done. So I'm putting it into the fret slots because that way it's easy to get out again. So you're essentially forming a kind of mix with the glue sandwich, and it mixes up in the middle. Because you don't get too much glue, you don't get too much of the dust. And then that sands off quite nicely. A couple more here. Ooh, bloody hell, dust everywhere. So any tiny little corner that needs filling, it's great to do like this. A couple little bits in here. To cover all of this one, there's definitely little gaps there. There, those bits there, that bit there. and get this lovely concrete paste. Final little one in that corner there. And you can see how hard it sets. So that's any little gaps filled in. You have a tendency to have to do this about 3 or 4 times, so I'll just keep going. And here we are, one fretboard, nicely sanded, all the little gaps filled. You can still see one there, look, it'll be covered. Alright, so there is the first facet. That you can see the lines that I've put on there. So I've just carved that down so that it's at an angle. And all we're going to do is continue to cut those on each side until you get a nice round surface all the way through, and then we're going to sand it. We're going to make sure it's the right size curve. It's going to take me a while. Okay, so I've just clamped it up now. All of those little facets where I've gone from that to that to that to that to that have become a kind of roughly curved shape now. So now what I've got to do is sand it down, make sure that you've got a nice consistent curve all the way down. Okay, so that's sanded to 80 grit now, looking the part. Next thing I've got to do is stick it next to the body. There we go. There's me fag, and there's me neck, your neck, sanded to 80. Next thing I've got to do is stick it on the body, which is just finishing up over here, and then carve off the recesses of the neck. All right, so it's time to set the neck. So basically I want this glued into here, and I want to make sure that this is all straight down the middle. There's very little play in the direction that you'd expect it to be, which is the neck coming that way. Obviously with an offset pocket like that, it will twist like that, so you've got to be careful to make sure that it's going to go dead straight. So we should get on with it. So the first thing I want to do is set up my laser. Which is dusty, but there. We'll see if it works today, children. Hey, bloody marvellous. Right, so in order for me to make sure that we are bob on the money, I want to line it up so as we are in between the 3rd and 4th strings, and then that should go all the way down the middle. So I've got 2 points of reference. I've got there, and I've got the midline of the neck, which is marked up inside. Marvellous effort. So now I know I'm there. What should happen is that I move that into position, and we are straight down the middle. So I know that we're all good to go. It's just a matter of gluing the little bugger now. So let's pop you there. So once this neck is set, then I'm going to carve this pocket to be all contoured and lovely. that's a good amount of glue on there. Going to give that a couple of minutes to let it air. You there, so you're out of the way. So I know it's all going to get carved. However, I'm still very mindful of glue smooge going everywhere. So first things first, then let's just slip you in. Make sure that I've got glue touching every bit. Marvellous effort. There's plenty of contact on there, that's ace. So plan of action, first things first, is to clamp either side just to give me an indication of where things are, and then I can tap it into position. So you'll notice I'm not going down the middle, because that would be bloody pointless. So again, I'll make sure that my Floyd Rose is there, I'm in the centre, and we are absolutely on the money. When things go like that, I'm a very happy child. So there's not too much clean up there. I'll do the boring bit and away we go. Finished guitar, looking rather splendid. So I'm going to just start to put on all the hardware now.